Wouldn't surprise me at all, then, that the government's trying to cover something up.
Johnny, Julian Assange is going to be extradited to the US.
Julian Assange's extradition to the United States has been approved by Britain.
And there's also some breaking news. The extradition of Julian Assange to the US has actually been approved by the British Home Secretary just now.
Yeah, he's been sent over there, Johnny, and charged with espionage, and he'll probably spend about 150 years in jail.
He faces 175 years in jail. You heard that right. 175 years in jail. What?
You know, it's been about 12 years now, Johnny, that since he released with WikiLeaks all those bloody papers on the Iraqi war that the Americans weren't too bloody happy about.
Jail. What did Assange do to deserve something like this? He published classified documents revealing America's war crimes abroad.
War crimes going on, all this sort of subversive, secretive bullshit.
They were called the Iraq War Logs because they had information about US military activities in Iraq. These files were from the US defense data. They were all classified, and WikiLeaks published them. What kind of information did the files have? Videos of human rights abuses by US forces. Indiscriminate killing of civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan. Videos showing US troops killing journalists. When all this data came out, the US cried espionage. WikiLeaks maintained the information was published in public interest.
But Johnny, why are bloody governments being so secretive in the first place? What do you mean by that? Why? Oh, well. Why, Johnny? Shouldn't they be just openly and honestly telling their bloody constituents what the hell they're going to do and stick by what they're going to do, instead of telling them one thing on bloody nightly news, what they're going to do, and then disappearing out the back and making secret deals, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, but don't tell the public? They won't particularly like what we're doing. But Johnny, governments have got to keep something secret in these troubling times, don't they? Why? Why? Well, you just need to be secretive. Well, then you've got to ask, Johnny, why wouldn't the bloody public like what they're doing in the first place? Is it something they would deem distasteful or bloody criminal? What are they doing?
Videos of human rights abuses by US forces. Indiscriminate killing of civilians in Iraq and Afghanistan. Videos showing US troops killing journalists.
Wouldn't surprise me at all, then, that the government's trying to cover something up.
I thought this theory was absolutely crazy, and the more I look into it, the more I say it's not quite as crazy as I thought it was.
So, it is really 50-50. It's two sides of a coin, really, as to how people see Julian Assange as his legal battles continue.
So are you just saying, Johnny, that the government should come out and say openly and honestly what the hell they're gonna do? Is that what you're bloody trying to say? I mean, a politician should be able to come out and honestly say why the bloody country's going to war, honestly. Well, good luck with that bloody theory. I don't think that's gonna fucking work. And if the people don't like it, well, then they should be able to have a vote to say, we don't like you going to bloody, we don't want to go to war. In this day and age, it could be done digitally. Is that bloody possible? In about 2 days, the politicians would say, oh shit, 75% of the people don't want to go to war. Well.
WikiLeaks is calling this a dark day for press freedom. It says Assange is being punished for doing his job as a journalist.
But they won't do that. It'll be like Brexit. They got a decision that politicians didn't bloody like. So they just keep everybody in the dark and say, well, we're going to war for this bloody reason. There's weapons of mass destruction there, Johnny. There's bloody nuclear missiles. All that sort of bloody stuff. And there was fucking nothing there. And of course, Johnny, Julian's a bloody Australian citizen. We know that, don't we? Well, he is Australian, Johnny, and all I can say is if you're an Australian citizen, don't do anything wrong overseas, that's for bloody sure. I mean, you could murder someone overseas and get more support than what the Australian government is given to poor old Julian Assange.
It's regretful. Adding to that, Australian citizen Julian Assange extradited to the United States. We have heard nothing from the Australian High Commission in London and the US Embassy, the Australian US Embassy, has made no statement for this tragic end to an Australian citizen, a publisher, a journalist, and finally to freedom of the press.
Johnny, are you saying that the US government may have brought some pressure to bear on the Australian government to support them in their case against Julian Assange? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, they won't even speak of him. And you mark my words, Johnny, I bet the US government came over here and had a high-level meeting with the Australian government and said, we want your support on this issue, and, well, that's just it, we want your support. And instead of the Australian government saying, oh, Jesus, you can't tell us what to do. We're a democratic people out here. It's one of our citizens over there in trouble. We've got an obligation to help him. They don't say that. They said, righto, righto, America, we'll back you with this 100%. Well. And they never come out and said that, Johnny. I never saw them. We all just know that that's what the fucking Americans would have come over and said to them. But Johnny, if people found out what their governments were actually doing, they are assuming, Johnny, that we're all too bloody dumb or too bloody smart to know what's actually going on, so we won't tell them at all. Yeah, if you're on the... But Johnny, but it's a big bloody secret, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose that's true. I mean, that's bloody pathetic.